the March and March protests that happened around the country today and are happening in the nation's capital tomorrow. And we're joined by one of the organisers, Tim Jones. Thanks for joining us, Tim.
Yeah, thanks very much, Chris. I'm glad to be here.
Look, I just want to ask you about the essence of these protests. We had a new federal government elected in with an overwhelming mandate just 6 months ago. So far they've been methodically going about implementing their promises as much as the Senate will allow them. Yet these protests today were saying democracy was under threat. Aren't we just seeing democracy actually play out the way it's supposed to play out?
No, that's the sort of rhetoric that we're actually protesting against, because it's complete denial of reality, Chris. They really are just laying waste, and honestly, there's many people who have protested today, and I can tell you there are close to 100,000 people think that this government is a wrecking crew. And not only that, but liars, just blatant liars.
You seem to have cast a verdict on the budget before you even seen whether or not the government is going to cut deeply enough, or too far.
I don't think you listened to me. I don't think you listened to me because I didn't mention the budget.
You talked about funding cuts, and I'm saying we haven't seen funding cuts yet. We're waiting for the budget to see what happens.
I talked about a wrecking crew. I talked about them destroying the ABC. It's our greatest intellectual national heritage. It's getting rid of the science minister. People of Australia aren't fooled by this political rhetoric and all these tricks that are played by the spinmeisters. Honestly, the reason why 100,000 people are out there today, not because they listen to the sort of rhetoric that you're telling me, they're because they can think for themselves. They're thinking Australian.
What are you protesting about?
We're protesting about the lies. We're protesting about them coming into Parliament and just treating with the whole institution as with a huge amount of disrespect, about destroying our international relationships, about making Australia look like a fool, about Tony Abbott really being seen as a fool on the international stage. Why do you think 100,000 people have protest? I can tell you, I could go through one bit at a time. You give me give it to me. Don't twist it. Don't tell me it's about the budget. It's not about a single. It's not black and white. It's not goodies and baddies. I can tell you.
Right. You weren't protesting when Labor were in power.
Well, I guess because Tony Abbott and the LNP have really just pushed it right over the line. I mean, you know, people have a sense of disgust, and people are using disgust as their compass. They're thinking that this stinks, and it's about time they got off their couches and protested, and that's what they did today.
A lot of the signs today were really abusive and really offensive. Kill Abbott was one of them. F democracy, F Abbott, Nazi insignia. Do you apologise for this sort of abuse, this rolling graffiti on our streets?
What sort of proportion of signs were of that sort of calibre? Can you tell me? You know, out of maybe there were 50,000 signs, how many signs of those were of that ilk? Can you tell me? I can tell you 100,000 people marched today, and I haven't heard of any police reports.
Now, you are planning a march in Canberra tomorrow. The most similar protest we've seen to this was one against the Howard government 6 months after it won government in 1996. And that led to very, very violent scenes and arrests and the like. Can you guarantee us that we're going to see an orderly, peaceful and non-abusive protest in Canberra tomorrow?
Well, I think I can. After 30 protests this weekend, 12,000 people protested in regional areas through eight marches on Saturday. And then today, approximately around 100,000 people marched without any incident, and we are very sensitive to having our name smeared, because anybody who does that undermines the thinking Australians who have marched today, people who consider things and don't believe propaganda that comes from Tony Abbott or Peter Credlin. I mean, this has been the most disgusting display of human manipulation we have seen in Australia's history, and I can tell you that Tony Abbott will go down as the worst Prime Minister in our history.
Tim Jones, I appreciate your time for coming in and chatting with us and trying to explain your protest movement to our viewers. So it was Tim Jones, who's one of the organisers of the March in March. They happened around the country today. They're happening in Canberra tomorrow. Thought we'd try and find out exactly what they're on about. I'm sorry, I'm none the wiser. I'm none the wiser. I'm none the wiser. I'm none the wiser.